All right, good morning again, and welcome back to our show. For everybody that's here live, make sure you have your stuff set up as far as the chat window open, and so you can see everybody chatting back and forth. I've already put in what I'm looking for as far as the investments today that we're going to be taking a look at and talking about. As far as make sure you also have the Q&A open. If you have questions along the way, or you just have something to add, just go ahead and put that in there, and we will discuss it. As far as disclaimer. This is an educational presentation, so you have to do your own due diligence for anything that you act upon that we talk about today. But you will get my professional opinion without knowing your personal situation, of course. All right, our mission objectives for today are to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. And today is November 2nd. I didn't change that, but welcome to November. For our tactical objectives today, our long-term investing topic is the election 2020 has beaten up a lot of stocks. A lot of things were selling off yesterday, the last market day, which of course was 2 days ago. So we're going to go in and talk about some value investing and when you buy low with the anticipation that things are going higher. And again, the value investments we're talking about, if you skip down a couple lines, we're talking about airlines, cruise lines, movie theaters, restaurants, mall, real estate, and of course I'll talk to you about an index fund as well that if you don't want to pick individual names, I get that, just hop right on in and you can buy the ETF or not. I will give you my opinion on that when we get there. All right, and the question of the day, today was an interesting week, or this weekend was interesting. First of all, our house got toilet papered. So having a teenager in your house, for those that don't know me personally, that's kind of interesting. So some folks paid us a visit. And the priceless part about that is my daughter got home right as they were finishing up. So it's like she's pulling up as she's like, oh, hey guys. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, and then also I heard a good conversation yesterday in another job that I do some part-time work with, between the difference between value and growth investing. Two people very smart were having a discussion, and I'm going to turn that into a podcast later today to go a little more in depth, but I do want to talk about it a little bit this morning for our question of the day. Don't forget to chime in with anything you want me to answer as well. As far as our flow, we're going to be long, short, open, short, long. We're going to talk about the market review, go around the world. We're heavy into the green this morning. We were big into the green, like 500 points when I first got up. It looks like we're more like 300 points in the green now. So could go either way. And honestly, I think it'll be a low volume. It's kind of like that Friday before holidays I always tell you about, that none of the pros are working because they're all at the Hamptons. Well, I think that's, who's making major money moves today before the election, but we'll see. So some things are in motion. That gives us some trading opportunities. Okay, we'll take a look at the headlines. It's going to be election. There are some earnings in. This is the second busiest week of earnings season, but it's going to be overshadowed by the election, so much so that we're probably not, other than hearing me talk about it for a few minutes in the morning, you're not really going to hear much. All right, there's our long-term investments, our short-term scorecard. So if you didn't go back, so what happened on Friday with our short in FE, I can't remember exactly what ticker was, but I made a video. So what I do on the channel, if you're subscribed, you get these videos, and I call it Day Trade of the Day. Yes, thank you. Who's that? Burner chiming in. Appreciate that. So yeah, FE ended up 2R. So I put that out there as the FE trade of the day, 2x your money or 200% growth or whatever it was. And I videoed the end of the day. So there's about another minute of when I actually exited the trade. So 2R on that. That brings us to +1 last week for our overall for October. 6R, I would say that's pretty low compared to the success we've had with the strategy. So I hope to build upon that in November. We're even so far. If the market's flipping around, I'm not going to trade today. We'll just wait, and may not trade tomorrow. I may have to wait till Wednesday. But there's a couple of really compelling names out there that we'll talk about. Camping World, the CWH that you saw is one of them. Contingencies that have any issues at all with the room, hearing me, any of that stuff, tech support at the email below, and we will get somebody on it. All right, let's go over to Think Pipes and look at where the market was. Let's see that big red move from Friday. Right, so here you have a S&P 500 chart. You can see a new person in the room, so international, I believe. So welcome, sir. The 1 year of the US S&P 500 index is what you're looking at here. We have this, of course, is the March low where we got hit from COVID. climbed all the way back up to the end of August, sold off about 10% in September, kind of flopped around, and now we're selling off again going into the election. We're holding that 320 to 40 range. I thought it was going to be 300 to 320. I was wrong. The market's doing a little better than I thought it would going into such a contentious election. So, but we did have a move down on Friday. I would not be shocked at all if this market rolls over from 1.5% up to a down 4% thing today. And that's not, people are not selling for any other reason than other than they want dry powder for whatever happens from the election. You know, half the country is going to be thrilled, the other half's going to be mad and threaten to move, but won't, and because they never do. But we'll see. We'll see where it goes. If we zoom in on the 5-day, so here's your 5-day chart of the SPY. You can kind of see basically that's a big line down, right? But when you look at where we are today, not only did right at the end of Friday a bunch of money come flowing back in, pretty thin volume, warning. Yeah, whatever. People were saying, okay, we're oversold, let's buy back in on a Friday afternoon. Amateurs. And then it kind of sold off there. And then, of course, let's talk about the Monday morning crowd, the optimists of the world. Too much candy on Halloween for these people because they ran the market up like what, twice as much as it dropped on Friday. Yeah. So it's getting a little more common sense. So we'll see what happens when it opens. It'll actually be pretty fun to watch because, you know, I like that. All right. As far as our setting up your charts, if you want to get a jump on me, you see it in the chat there. CWH is going to be my primary. That's Camping World. They crushed earnings. And then Li and XPEV is Xpeng Motors. Both are Chinese automakers. There's two reasons they're going higher. One is NIO is on fire. It's up over 30 now. So you're talking 500-600% if you're in that name from whenever we started it back in the day. Don't buy it here. Literally don't buy it here. But the sympathetic, so these names are going up with NIO, that's been going up 10% a day. But both of these companies also released some auto numbers that were very favorable. So I don't know if those were exact numbers of what was delivered, but the going forward, or their forward numbers, I don't know which one it was, but they're very favorable. And of course, Camping World's returning to profitability after 2 quarters of unprofitability based off of getting hit by COVID. But it makes sense from a thesis because why not? People are getting out and going camping. So spending a ton of money on it because we're not traveling anything other than getting in the RV and going somewhere. So that's what we have for your charts. We'll get back to that in a minute. Let's go to CNBC and take a look at where we are as far as the futures this morning. I'll refresh these real quick. So you see the Dow 358 up, so it's over 1% for the S&P and Dow. NASDAQ not quite as optimistic because it's tech and less than 1%. Tech got hit hard on Friday. So if you're looking at your Amazon and looking at your Apple on Friday, got hit pretty hard. We're talking 5-6% there. All right. So let's take a look around the world. Europe in the green, pretty heavy, and that's pretty optimistic because they're going. And I'm on a call on Sunday mornings in England, and they're locking down. They're locking down big time in Europe. So these numbers are kind of surprising. We'll see how this week holds. I think it will be very red for Europe. All right, everything's in the green across China. There's our numbers from Friday. The VIX is spiking there. As far as the bonds, slight sell-off, nothing really of note. Oil is not coming back until after the election, and then depending on who gets elected, may not come back at all. I think we are seeing a sea change in oil. I put out a podcast some time ago about how data is the new oil, 100%. So if you're in love with oil companies, you have to reinvent yourself and look at the world going forward. All right, gold and silver might creep up. I think they've already made their moves going into the election. All right, as far as the headlines, let me make this a little bigger so we get more headlines here. All right, we know about the Dow moving up there. Yep, election. Fundraising, election. There's some talk about firing Fauci after the election. That'd be interesting. I think so. I think that's also just a move, think back to his days as The Apprentice. I think that's a move to stir his base. They're like, let's get Fauci, let's run him out of here, kind of thing. So we shall see. if he actually does that, but I think there's probably a better than 50% chance that that does happen. All right. Time to start buying this week. I would say, where'd that headline go? Here we go. I'm going to do a live Facebook Live every day. I think I'll do it around like 3:05. So let the market close at 3:05 Central, that is, here in the US. Let the market close and then come online and give probably 10 to 15 minutes of what do we know and what don't we know, and do that every day this week, because I think there's going to be more knowns pretty much every day. But we'll see, and that will kind of determine when it's ready to move money back into the market. Time to start buying this week. Yeah, if we had a clear election, absolutely. If we have clear results of the election, I should say. So somebody concedes that evening, tomorrow night, and we know everybody going forward, except for maybe a Senate race or two, that everything doesn't hang on. I do think the markets would actually go back higher at that point, because then it would be back to what we're always worried about, which is stimulus. Let's get some passed so more companies don't go under. And then the vaccine and how we're handling the coronavirus sort of thing. Malls under pressure. CBL filed for bankruptcy. I got to take a note on that. I have a bond of theirs, so we'll see how that one's doing this morning. Not good. All right. That is it for the headlines. Let's talk really quick about value investing. That's not value investing. This is value investing. Get the right company in here. So we're just putting American Airlines in here. So when you think of value investing, I'm not a big fan and I wouldn't recommend it. But if you value invest, stick with value investing, because that's what you're doing. You're looking to buy something that is significantly undervalued and is going to eventually move higher. I'm too impatient for that. I'm also a professional money manager, so I can't wait forever on something, because my clients will leave if I sit there and wait 5 years for American Airlines to come back. Right? And they should leave, right? They can do that crap on their own. But I'm not interested in waiting forever. I'm also not interested in sitting and staring at something, hoping it doesn't die. That doesn't build confidence with me. I want to believe in something that I'm putting my capital behind. But I'm poo-pooing a little bit there, but I do mean that if you do this, that's fine. If you want to go into the airlines, then go into the airlines, just not a whole lot, okay? And don't expect it to turn around tomorrow, because it's not. You'll get a big 5% move up in a day, and you'll slap high fives, and you'll scoff, be the cat pointing at me going, yeah, value investing's back. Yeah, you'll say that for like a week, and then it's dead again. Kind of like University of Texas football is now back because they won one game. Anyhow, we've heard that 8 times in the past 4 years. So when you look at a chart of a value investing, it's dead. It's not going anywhere. There was some life here, and then there were some fools made out of those people that bought into it, because it all sold back off to where it was. So maybe somebody traded it and made a ton of money, but a true value investor probably didn't sell just because it made $8 or whatever. So when we go over to the main board here, I'm going to take myself off the screen, go over to our Schwab Street Smart. You can look at a whole bunch of names that fit this category. There's AAL up in the upper left, we already talked about, left for dead in COVID. We've got the cruise lines, a little more favorable, but still pretty dead. Movie theater, AMC's been in talks of going under, like fully bankrupt. We have Play, which is Dave & Buster's, which is an absolute amazing place to go to. And they charge you a ton of money to play their expensive games, except for they can't operate at capacity because of COVID. So they're in a lot of trouble. That's a name I could get behind when it comes back. So there's one example of a value investment that I could get behind. And Camping World's another one that we're going to talk about here in a second. Simon Property Group, I think the malls are changed forever from what they were. I think we're going to see a lot more use of that real estate, not just miles and miles upon shopping. And then if you want the ETF, you can do that. Obviously, a lot of people have looked at these charts and said, yeah, I don't want any part of that. I'll just buy the ETF. Well, the ETF turns around and buys these things. So, know what you're doing if you're just going to buy the ETF and go, hey, look at me. All right, let's talk about some day trades. First one here is Camping World Holdings. So again, never really thought about this as far as an investable thesis. All 3 of these are longs. I don't see a short. I have the shorts pulled up over to the right, and don't see anything that really qualifies just from volume. Teladoc it hadn't sold off enough. So it meets all of our criteria. It's got a nice bump up. It's at 28, so it's sitting right here. It was up at 40. At last, it pays a 3.5% dividend. There's a lot to like here. And I do think it moves today unless the market rolls over. So again, a lot to like with CWH. That's my primary. Think about a 30-cent stop, maybe 25 cents. We shall see what we get as far as an entry. All right, the next one, 2.5 minutes to go, is Li Automotive. Again, this is Chinese EV maker. Plenty of volume. Closed at 20. It's up at 21.69. You see some delivery headlines down here. It's also sympathetic with people that are refusing to buy NIO. That just keeps doubling, saying, "What's my next best option?" So not best of breed, but next of breed, as I call it. Li qualifies for that, and you're looking for about a 20-cent stop in Li. All right, as far as the last one, I don't have any discriminator between Xpeng and Li Automotive, other than they look almost exactly alike. A little more volume, same price points, same kind of charts, so same headlines. So really, I would think it's a coin flip. We're going long on all three, so just realize that you can use this in an IRA, if you will, if you're interested. Otherwise, just follow along. All right, let's set up over to TD Ameritrade, get our screen going here. I'm going to take us out of 5-minute charts. You see how, before we do that, so starting to get a little life back into the futures here. So I'm going to go down to a 1-minute chart on everything. All right, we'll zoom in here in a minute after I get my own stuff set up. Again, going long, so manage your accounts appropriately. Not super, not super excited, but I'm ready to go with Camping World. Should it set up correctly, and manage your R. If you don't know what R is, go to the website. It explains the entire concept of it. So there we are, and ready to go. All right, 30 seconds to go. Welcome to the trade of the day for On Time, On Target. You have 4 screens in front of you. On the left screen, you see SPY. That is a 1-minute chart of the S&P 500. Sitting there, it's kind of dropped down into the open, starting to get a little bit of life, but we shall see. The other 3 are all long names that we're looking at today. Camping World Holdings beat earnings and is gapping up. And both Li Automotive and Xpeng Motors are Chinese EV makers that have announced some good delivery numbers and are also kind of sympathetic with NIO, which is kind of best of breed that's been going higher. So with that, here is the opening bell. Okay, again, I'm set up on my tickers for Camping World first, and we're just going to watch it for a second. So all of these are about a price point. Ooh, boy, Lee's screaming higher there. Not a whole lot going on with Camping World. So you can see this has already moved. That's a 50-cent move. So the stop on Lee is going to have to be a little bit higher because it's flopping around a little bit, but I'm not taking it first. It's up 10%. It's up 10%. And Camping World does not appear to be open. I'm checking it on another screen if you want to check it at home for me. So I'm not trying to look at 2 places at once. Camping World, CWH. All right, it is open now. You can see it's up 840. Let's see where we want to take it here. Again, I'm looking at a 30-cent stop, so it's going to have to be able to move 90 cents total to get our 3R point. Does not appear to be flopping around like these 2 are, so I'm pretty happy with that. Ooh, I like that move. Again, the lower it goes, the better entry point we get for our long. So let some people take some profits here. Ideally, I'd like to see it sell off for a couple minutes, stabilize at the bottom, give us those dojis that I talked about, and then turn around and go back higher. And we get a little love out of the market there. So let's see our 2 names over here for our Chinese EV makers. Wow, Lee already went from 10% down to 6%. The other one's still above 10%. Again, I like the sell-off we're seeing out of Camping World. So get ready to go. I'm not going to wait for it to get all the way back up to 28.60 to take it long. I will tell you that. I'm going to try to go 30 cents off the bottom. So that would be at 28.20 here. So we're going to take it at 28.20 going north. We're going to set our stop below the bottom of the day. Don't take it yet. Wait until it hops up. Zoom in here for you. Get up here. Here's where we're taking it. I'll just make a little notation so you can be ready to go. So again, looking for 28.20 long in CWH. And if it doesn't set up, it doesn't set up. So we're going to keep an eye on that while we look at some other things. These are the dojis I'm talking about. I would like to see out of Camping World. You get these big long dojis at the bottom that are basically, it tries to sell off, comes right back, tries to sell off, comes right back. So again, 28.20, I'm happy with that. We're still going to use a 30-cent stop, even though it doesn't quite cover the low of the day. I'm pretty confident in it. These are nice, 18-cent dojis. So get ready for it. I think it's about ready to go. It looks like it's about ready to, well, it went from back down to 27.94, so we got to be patient with it. All right, get ready to take it if it goes north of 28.20. Still in that 5 to 10% window, so I like it. There we go. So lead, get into it there. I'm going to go ahead and see what price point I got off of that, and then I'll draw for you. I think I got around 23 is what I'm saying loading. Yep, 28.23 is my entry point. So I'll draw the Broom's entry point, not my own specific. So we're into Camping World long. Why is the screen frozen? All right, your stop is down here at 27.90. So hold that 27.90 stop. There, we're back alive again. Good thing we didn't miss much. So our stop's down here at 27.90. I'll draw an arrow for you going north. Ooh, I like that move. All right, and we were going 90 cents north of that, so I think it's the volume in the morning that is not letting me draw, because you can sit there and draw all day in the afternoon. Oh well, got to get rid of that. All right, keep an eye on it. It went back red again. If it hits where it's close, don't leave it yet. Don't leave it out. There we're out, 27.90, so we're out of that trade. All right, and that's why you get out of the trades. Look how hard that fell right after we left the trade. So didn't even get finished drawn, and we are down 1R on the week for that trade. It's going to draw the X. It's not going to let me. All right, and it's right close to that bottom of the 5% window there, so we'll see. So all right, starting off the week, minus 1R. Be true to the math. It's no big deal. When you're right, you make 3. When you're wrong, you lose 1. All right, let's take a look at some other names that are out there. These are all long names. Nielsen, NLSN, beat earnings. They were gapping up 6 to 10. They've sold off, though. That would not have worked. EL is Estee Lauder. They beat earnings. So up around 5% today. Market's kind of going sideways in the first 6 minutes here. Let's look at NEO, since we're talking about the other two, and see what NEO's doing. So, all right, touched 34.46 pre-market. So I'm going to show you this on a longer chart and look at this crazy move up. So down at 20, what's that, 12 days ago, and then all the way up to in the mid 30s. That's the kind of move. CW pre-market, I'm just catching up on the chat there, Burner. Excellent. Hopefully you got a good price on it. Otherwise, you have to be out. If you got in at the right time, you might still be in the trade. All right. Speaking of China, LKNCY. No news other than it sold off a bunch last week. So I am kind of waiting for Luckin to go higher. So we shall see. All right. Let's go and take a look at other names in the market. You got NEO up 10%. Again, I'm looking at the left-hand side of this for our new person there. Here's Luckin at 5%. Couple of psychedelic names. Workhorse is a name that's sold off pretty hard recently. Let's see, pot names, marijuana, if you will, is what I'm saying when I say pot names. So marijuana, two marijuana names there in the green, pretty heavy. If there's a Democratic election, you expect to see a lot of money flowing into those, including some of ours if you're with me. Again, the thesis is there, legalization primarily for the terms of being able to tax it. All right, there's another psychedelic name down. Northwest Bio has been selling off for a while. Kohl's, Twitter, ASON has not gone anywhere up, it seems. So it was up at 25 around the IPO and Monday last week. So it's hit all the way down to 21 and bouncing. We're holding it here. We're not necessarily selling it. It IPO'd the same day or direct listed the same day as PLTR. Which is holding above 10. It dropped below 10 on Friday, holding there. That'll be another name to add after the election. Once we know the results, and we'll see how much to add, but go from there. All right, those are the long names and the short names. Back to our day trading chart, just looking at Luckin one more time, up 5% and holding. And then our two Lee and Xpeng Motors. Yeah, these are bouncing around too much to really trade. So when you see something whipping around like that, you either have to avoid it or you have to open up that stop so much that it's going to be hard for you to get the 3R to the upside. So just some things to think about there. All right, we're going to close that down and come over to the main screen and talk about value investing. Okay, we talked already about it a little bit, so I won't go into it too much. I say, I sound negative on value investing. Well, it's just not my thing, but it's okay if it's your thing. If you can't get yourself to buy a share of Tesla at 5 billion times earnings or losses or whatever the valuation is. I mean, there's some people that just can't buy into the growth, and that's okay. Then you are kind of your investing universe goes to a handful of stocks that are undervalued. Well, if it's undervalued in a free market, it is out of favor. So it's almost contrarian. You're trying to catch the wave. If you think life is a wave, well, you're trying to catch it at the bottom, right? Instead of just riding the wave and taking the whole thing, you're trying to place your bets on things that are at the bottom versus more of a momentum / growth investor is waiting for that move up from the bottom. Let it get a lot of momentum higher until it has a new drug, a new product, a new service, a higher margin, whatever that's taken the stock higher, new leadership. If you're investing in that, that's more the growth phase. But value investing is fine. And when you think of why does value investing have such a good name? Well, when you think Warren Buffett, Benjamin Graham, all these folks that made a ton of money back in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, well, they were value investors, and that's where the money was. And Warren Buffett will admit this. He's on several documentaries talking about the only reason he could do that is because he had information that, the morning line or value line, I can't remember what it was. I think it was value line. I remember looking at it in high school. But you had to physically go to the library, pull a one-page piece of paper that was probably 2 weeks old, and read about the company and make a valuation decision based off of that information, because that's all anybody had. So if you're pretty good or really good at applied probabilities, which is investing really when you look at it, but when you really can synthesize information, he said he could find real value. Now, anybody with one of these guys, this iPhone 12, got a shout out there, but anybody with a smartphone can get almost not perfect information, can get voluminous information. How about that? Maybe too much information, but certainly all the information's out there, and it's almost instant, right? When there's a conference call or an earnings drop, it's instant. I mean, there's high frequency traders that are capturing algorithms off of words that are used in the title. So So when you have that much information out there, can you really find value? And that's why Warren Buffett says he could not do now what he did then. So that's pretty good insight from arguably the world's greatest investor. So all right, that's what I have for you today. I'm looking back at the markets real quick to see what's going on. SPY still in the green, but not well. Everything's up over 1% still. So I would say holding, but I think it's a tenuous hold out there. So Burner, I know you said Camping World came back. I'm actually looking at it for a long-term investment. Yeah, it'd be more of a swing trade. It'd be more of a hold it through probably till vaccine time, and then sell it. But I may buy some. I don't know. It's I have to look more about it. I've not looked at their fundamentals and all that. Other than I saw it did have a 3.5% dividend, so I like that. And don't buy stuff today. Wait till tomorrow, or we'll actually wait till Wednesday. Right? That's when you're going to know a lot more than you know now. So, all right, that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here, and we will catch you on Election Day tomorrow. Bye.